Hello there folks, I'm Dan Brown from a sort of interestinglife.com. You're joining me on board good old Narrowboat Tilly, and today we're going to tackle the big question, did YouTube ruin my life? Now, before we go any further, this needs putting into a little bit of context, as I'm not talking about has YouTube made my life terrible, because as many of you know, I absolutely love YouTube and I love making videos and posting them and seeing all the comments and all, just everything. I just love YouTube. I've been on YouTube since within the first 12 months of it ever existing, I think, so I've got quite a few years on here and just love it more than ever at the minute. But what I'm really interested in talking about in this video, rather than that as like a ridiculously dramatic question, is talking more in general of how YouTube's changed my life and taken me away from that like sort of core of the absolute sort of total anonymous simple life that, well, I'll put into context for you now. So let's dive into it. Instead of talking about the video, let's do the video. So to set the scene, if we go back a good few years now into my pre-boat life and when I was first having the boat idea and saving up, and there's something in my eye as I'm recording this. I apologise for this extremely unprofessional beginning. So as I was saving up for Tilly, I was looking at ways I could make things more simple and what did I want and didn't I want, and mainly in terms of getting rid of things so that I could literally sell stuff off and add that money to the boat fund. And I had this amazing idea of like, yeah, I'm going to buy a boat and then I'm going to disappear and just go off on an adventure for a year. And as I've said in previous videos, I literally had the paperwork from the supermarket that I work at ready to go of, right, do I want a proper break from work for a long time so I can come back and have a job in like a year's time or whatever. And that's how much I was planning and getting prepared for this great big initial adventure where I was just going to get a boat and go completely disappear. And when I add to that sort of the ultimate anonymous simple life on the canal, and nobody would know where I was, and just really going out and exploring. And it's something that I still want to do, and as I talk in these videos, I'm saving up, and I'd love to just long term one day be able to afford to go, you know what, we're going to do this, let's go, and just start moving down the canal and see where we ended up in 1 year, 2 year, goodness knows how long in the future. And that was the general plan. I had all the maps of canals for goodness knows how many miles around, and me and my friends would put them all on the floor at my mum's house and have them all lined up so you could literally see how many miles it was. And it was fantastic, and the whole idea of that, absolutely great. And just the planning and talking about it and talking about getting a boat and setting it up, everything was just a great time of life. And during that time I was getting everything more simple and fewer possessions and all the rest of it. And to add in more context of what I'm talking about in terms of a simple life, it's like for years, even before I had a boat, I was publishing books, and oh my goodness me, my first few Kindle books were just terrible, like really poorly edited and not thought through really, I suppose, in many respects. But it was something that I loved doing, just writing, and even though nobody, and I'm talking literally nobody at all, was like, I'd sell maybe a dozen books or so in a year, like just nobody was interested, but I loved doing it, and so I kept doing it. And as time went on, I saw what do I want, what don't I want, and I ultimately ended up with, when I moved on to Tilly, I had one of the small iPods for obviously all the audiobooks and podcasts that, as I was talking about, I absolutely love and still listen to. Then I had a MacBook Air, which even when I bought that a year before it was second hand when I bought it. And it absolutely killed me even to buy that at second hand, because I was trying to build up money to obviously get the boat and all the rest of it. But I got that one because I knew it could do just about everything that I wanted it to do in terms of the YouTubing I was doing at the time and obviously my writing. And very importantly, it was super small and lightweight because I did, I've always done a lot of walking and biking, and knew that in years to come I would be putting it in my bag and biking to and from a boat to me friends or to me mum's and what have you. So even that was like not a supercomputer, and it was the cheapest computer I could get at the time that I knew could do all the things that I wanted it to. So I had that, my iPod, I had, I think it was a 50 quid camera that I was using back then, and also a phone that cost me a whopping £7.50. And you can imagine that a £7.50 phone was as basic as it came. I didn't have a tablet or anything like that. I didn't have any internet access when I was away from, obviously, either a landline at my friends' houses or my mum's or wherever it may be. So when I was on the boat, it was literally just a very, very small group of my friends who knew my phone number, and that was all the communication that I had. And it was fantastic. And like I say, I mean, me and my friends would be out walking and goodness knows what, and boating and everything else. It was just a great time. And really, the phone is what sums it up to me. I'd got everything sort of knuckled down so well that I just didn't have any real communication, and I was as anonymous and totally just, oh yeah, there's just that new boat, look at that, a tiny little boat, some lad who keeps popping up, and see him on his bike on the towpath and all the rest of it. It was really just a great time, and it was so exciting, and everything was just so new. And as I say though, I've ultimately didn't go on that trip and the great big adventure, obviously, which, as I've said in previous videos as well, so I won't go into it here, but it was the most important thing that I never did go on that trip, because I firstly didn't know anything about boating or have any skills or practical knowledge of boating to head off on a massive trip on my own. But more importantly, I didn't have any of the actual personal maturity to be able to deal with all of the trouble and situations and difficulties that would have arisen on that trip. Certainly not hundreds of miles away from anywhere and anybody that I knew, on my own, on a boat with goodness knows what happening to it. So that then led me to obviously then be able to have more frequent access to upload videos either at my friends or at my mum's or wherever I might be and all the rest of it. And because I knew that I could just about get by and be comfortable by only doing 2 days a week, that really let me start doing more writing, and I was doing all my diaries and stuff then, and it was just a gradual thing. And this is where, now this is what I mean of, I had everything so simple. And I mean, even something like Facebook, for example, back then I literally didn't use Facebook at all. I very rarely posted anything whatsoever, and even the bookmark that I had to click on took me straight to the messages part, and I never saw the news feed, never saw what nonsense people were posting or arguing about that day. It would just go straight to my messages, and again, just a really close-knit group of friends who I trust completely, and to this day trust 100%, and would still consider my best friend. Obviously contact me there, so I didn't have to spend me credit on my phone if I was somewhere that I could get to actual internet access and so on. And really, the phone is the key to how simple things were. Just nobody really knew me number, and it was the only way I could be contacted. And obviously there was none of all this, like, people going past going, oh, it's YouTube, oh, Dan, oh, it's Tilly, and taking photos and all that sort of stuff. And this is the point where I'm certainly, as I want to say this, I'm not saying YouTube's bad, because I love it, and everything obviously in my life is all based on my own decisions and what I do. And as time went on, because I sort of had this just this perfect honeymoon period that's still going on, and I love just everything about the canal more than ever now that I've settled into it, and I'm not terrified of every single thing that ever happens and all the rest of it. But I basically just started to realise, oh yeah, look at this, that's an amazing thing over there. Wow, that's an amazing thing over there. God, this is a beautiful boat trip. God, it's an amazing sunset. And that's when I started to do a lot more filming and a lot more videos of just different things around the canal and walking off to different places. And of course, being able to bike in and out of work from all sorts of different places. And now, as I do my weekly bike videos, it's literally just put a camera on me and bike to the boat, or bike into town, or bike to somewhere else on just a little circuit to or from the boat, or from the boat around somewhere and back to the boat on a shopping trip. And that's when I realised that, oh yeah, because I'm surrounded by amazing countryside, and there's so many random old things dotted about and fantastic little walks through farmland, that I could just keep filming and being like, wow, look at this. And just how I generally am, and how I am, if people who know me in real life know that I'm just endlessly distracted. And it's something that other Dan, when he's been on board recently for his first trips over the past few months, has got to learn very well that I am just endlessly distracted like I am when I'm talking in these videos. But you imagine me trying to talk to you now if we were boating along and there was fields and stuff that we were passing and all sorts going on, and wildlife and kingfishers and herons and all that. Basically, I realised that I had the time and the patience to actually start pointing a camera at all these different things and recording them and then uploading them. And it was just that crazy thing of all the stuff, as I've always said, for years and years and years. I've loved walking and doing these huge walks that I used to do before I had the boat, and just all of these things and the great outdoors. Suddenly, just being on a boat in the middle of it, it's like, oh, what's through the window today? What's through the window today? And then as I started posting these videos and people started tuning in, I mean, at the moment, I think we're out 2.5 million views now on the channel. I mean, that's just crazy, and coming up to 9,000 subscribers. As I always say, I mean, I can't thank you enough, but that is unbelievable that that's the level, and that's the amount of people who've tuned in and seen these videos. It's way beyond anything I could possibly ever have imagined. And certainly back then, I never would have ever thought or expected such a crazy figure to ever be within reach. And as I say now, there's literally multiple days in the past 30 days on the statistics where it's gone over 6,000 views in a day. I mean, it's just unbelievable. So as I always say, just thank you so much for that. But that is what is the crazy thing now. Of there's so many people tuning in and leaving comments and sending messages on YouTube and all the rest of it. And I think I'm going to close the comments on the Facebook page, because it's just, as I say, I mean, I've probably got between the Facebook page and my Facebook account now. It wouldn't surprise me if it is, it wouldn't surprise me if it is literally well over 1,000 unread messages, because it's just impossible to keep up with. And you might know over the last 3 weeks or so, I've also not really been responding to many comments below, because I've just been out on the boat enjoying it, really. So I haven't had the best of internet access. I mean, right now I haven't got any internet on my phone at all without going and standing on the roof and all the classic sort of boat things like that. And that to me is just unbelievable. I mean, it's just crazy to have gone from, yep, I've got a little phone that I just use to talk to me friends, and only a couple of friends at that who actually have ever known the phone number and so on. And then now it's like, if I didn't turn me notifications off on my phone, it would just be constant message, comment, message. Somebody liked this picture on Instagram, somebody shared this video or retweeted this tweet, and all of these crazy things that just are constantly going on that it's impossible to keep up with as one single person. So, as I say, I mean, just thank you so much for it. It's just truly incredible. And ultimately, that then is the inspiration and the drive. And like I say, the people who really get into these videos, it's just incredible to see where you're all from, tuning in from around the world and stuff. And that then brings all of these questions in of oh, what about this? What about this? So then that's more ideas to get out there and film. And that's really, I mean, I'll go as far as to say I'm obsessed with YouTube and filming and so on, because I do really love it. And because I've been lucky enough to find myself in a position where I can spend time doing this, as I've said, I mean, it's it is literally just, yeah, I can't imagine how many thousands of hours it has taken to post hundreds and hundreds of videos, because you can imagine, even just talking to camera video like this, I literally, this is probably going to be about 20 minutes. I've done a few different early takes where the original light that I was using that doesn't make me look so pale kept flickering and going out and stuff like it did in that one video. And I thought, you know what, let's just start again. So I've probably already spent 20 minutes plus recording this video, and this is 15 minutes in now on this take, which is definitely the final take. But just something as simple as that, and as simple as a video that needs very little editing, just talking to the camera. it's going to take probably 40 minutes to have actually stood here and filmed and recorded properly. Then obviously it'll take a good few minutes to re-watch it and check that I didn't make any bizarre slip-ups, and obviously edit out the moments where I have me swigs from a bottle and so on just out of shot here. That's the behind-the-scenes look for you. And obviously all of that then takes another sort of 20 minutes probably. Then, of course, on top of that, you've got the extra actual processing time for the video to export, and any footage that's on the iPods that I'm filming this on will then obviously be, well, useless until this video is finished processing. And it's just this crazy cycle, and that's just for the simplest, easiest, just talking straight at the camera. That it'll easily take an hour to do this 20-minute video or so. And that is where all of my time goes these days. It's like I do tons and tons of writing now, because again, it's just got infinite inspiration, and writing me little diary entries and things like that, and then trying to make them into a more sensible book of some description. And I mean, I just absolutely love it. And as I say, I'm truly grateful to be able to live this life. But it's so completely different just through the sheer chance that people have started tuning into these videos over the last couple of years. And as I say now, like when there's days like in over the Easter weekend or over the Easter school holidays, there's a day where 4 separate boats went past and they shouted stuff like, "Oh, Tilly," and "Oh, Dan," and "Oh, YouTube," and so on. And that's the exact opposite of the total anonymous life that I was living and intending to live. And it's just happened by sheer chance and coincidence. And equally, that's sort of taken me in some respects away from that core, simple life. I've often wondered and often thought, God, I wonder what it would have been like if I'd have tried to do these videos anonymous and just done sort of boat trip commentary videos and so on, without actually ever appearing on, or without ever actually showing the outside of the boat, so nobody knew who I really was. And I've always thought about that, and it's always been an interesting idea and concept. And if I'd have known how, well, like I say, 2.5 million views, if I'd have known that was going to happen within the first couple of years of me having a boat and that, I might well have thought twice about doing all these videos. But I don't regret it a bit, because it's been a fantastic experience. And if it all ended tomorrow and I could never do another video again, then I would be more than grateful and more than happy for the time that I've spent talking to you on camera, and just the time that I've spent on the boat in general. It's just been fantastic. But that's really demonstrating how much everything's changed. That the idea that 4 complete strangers can go past in a single day and know stuff about me and know who I am and all the rest of it, when I would, I don't know if I could say that there would be 4 friends, like actual people who weren't members of my family, who even knew my phone number when I first had Tilly. And that again is showing the crazy difference in perspective, and the fact that I now have an iPhone so that I can post pictures to Facebook. And I mean, the Facebook page has got over 2,500 likes now, I think. Again, that's crazy. And there's people who ask me to post more pictures as well. As I say, with doing these videos, the amount of people who have all these different ideas that I'd never be able to think of myself, of like, oh, why didn't you do a video on this? Oh, that might be interesting. And I just never consider these things. So I have all these ideas stacking up, and one day I will do a baked potato in the fire video, I promise. I've kept forgetting over the winter, and now it's going to be far too hot in here if I have to run the fire long enough to get a potato cooked all the way through at a decent heat. So please forgive me on that front. But there are so many ideas and so many comments that I never get round to responding to, and messages that I never get round to replying to. And it's crazy, like I say. But it's so different to what I ever envisioned of, oh yeah, I'm going to get a boat and disappear from the face of the earth and just maybe carry on writing me books and see if anybody wants to read them. Please do check out my books. This is another side note, that people seem to think that there's this amazing sort of correlation between how many views you get on YouTube and how much money you make, which is certainly not. As I say, I mean, the laptop that I bought at the start of the year, if in 12 months I pay off from YouTube earnings that £1,000, I'm a happy boy. which I want to make sure that's absolutely nothing to sniff at. And as I say, I don't do these videos to try and make a fortune, because I've been doing it for like many years before you could so much as have adverts on your videos. So anything is more than gratefully received from YouTube. But as I say, people have this idea, or some people seem to have this idea, that it's like, God, 1 million views, that's amazing, that must be raking it in off that. And then on top of that, then there's also this idea that also means that it's like say coming up to 9,000 subscribers now. And I was having this conversation a couple of months ago with somebody who'd read 3 of my books, and they said, oh yeah, well, I've bought 3 of your books, if you've got all these subscribers, so you must be doing alright. And it's like, yeah, you're one of the very few people, you're one of a very small percentage of people who tunes in and is a subscriber and who actually reads the books. I mean, literally, in the past 7 days, there's been days where I literally don't sell a single book until maybe, I don't know, midday. And it's like that crazy thing of like, there's days where I literally sell 1 book, and even that seems to be a struggle at some points. And again, it's this crazy idea that people seem to have, that it's like, oh yeah, loads of views, that's loads of money, which unfortunately is not the case. Otherwise I would be doing more videos than ever, and I would not be working at a supermarket either. But alas, I'm more than happy with life, and I can't really ask for much more. But ultimately though, like I say, this is the whole thing that this video is meant to be driving at, that I've whittled on and on about with no real focus, that YouTube has completely changed my life. And like I say, the fact now that I've bought a phone specifically to do better filming wherever I am, because you obviously always have your phone on you these days. But not only that, I've got it for specifically communicating on Twitter, on Tumblr, on Instagram, on Facebook, and on the Facebook page. I mean, Facebook page of 2,500 likes, that's something that I just could never have believed. It's literally only a couple of years ago that I was celebrating that it got to 100 likes. Again, crazy figures, like I say. And to just suddenly have this crazy thing, it's like there's people asking me to post stuff. I'm like, God, you know what? I can use this to justify getting myself a gadget phone. But on top of that, equally now, having something like an iPod Touch to film these videos on, so I can not only film them, but then edit them on the actual device. And that's it's almost like a miniature computer, that then if I was doing something on that, I could still be writing on the MacBook or what have you. And it's like I say, I mean, buying the MacBook to do an audiobook and do more videos that I couldn't do on the old MacBook, because it just wasn't powerful enough anymore, because it's like so many years old and so underpowered. Even when it was new, it could only just do the things that I wanted. And again, adding that in, it's like I've also got the iPad now, which, I mean, the iPad's just fantastic, and that is one of the most sort of, that's more key to my life and doing these videos and doing my writing than even the actual proper laptop is. But it's just the fact that when I first had the boat, I had a phone that was £7.50 and couldn't do anything basically. And now it's like, I've literally got a phone that's a computer, a camera that's a computer, an iPad that's a computer, and a MacBook which is a computer. And that's all entirely based around doing these videos and YouTube and keeping up with all these things and failing to respond to these comments and so on. Well, for example, this last couple of weeks, because obviously I've been out in these like super rural places, I haven't been able to sit on the boat and respond to comments and things like that. They've just been stacking up until now. There's probably maybe 200 or so comments waiting to be responded to. And of course, I can go and do those, but that's hours and hours and hours of work. But then on top of that, by the time I do that, respond to those over like a week or so, that means that in that week, more comments have been stacked up on the top of that. So I won't be responding to a good deal of comments, but then I'll try and drop in and do a few on a video here and there, and do a couple on each video maybe, and then videos that I post this week come in, I might respond more directly to. And again, it's this simple like cycle of, well, everything is so much beyond what I ever envisioned it being years and years ago, that it's completely changed the sort of fundamental like focus of my life of I do more videos and more writing than I've ever done before, and I'm truly grateful to be able to do that. But if you'd have ever said, hey Dan, one day you'll like post a video and 30,000 people will tune into it, I would have been like, no, that's crazy. If somebody had said to me, hey Dan, one day you'll get a bike, you'll ride it from the boat just down the road like you've done goodness knows how many times into your hometown, and over 100,000 people will tune into it, I would have never believed that. And these are all the crazy things that then it's like that sort of gives you the biking people and the fixie people who are like, oh, post more of this, and come up with their own ideas and want to know, like, oh, what do you think about this? And I'm like, I don't know, I've never heard of that before, but I'll look into it. And again, I think this video now is the recording, the unedited file right now is at 27 minutes 31 seconds now. So that is a lot of talking for you to listen to on your Sunday morning. So I think I'm going to wrap this up now. I suppose I just wanted to just generally say a few things, really. I know there hasn't been anything of any particular interest or any landmark moments in that video, but I don't know, really. It's something I've been thinking about, of how much YouTube's influenced and changed my life and so on. And really, yeah, now you're well versed if you've listened this far. I've got a few things that I'm planning on and a few different things that I'm going to shift around. Like I say, I'm going to I think one of the big problems that I'm having at the moment with how much time YouTube has been taking is not doing the videos. So I've done more videos than ever recently, and I've got a lot more shorter videos that people have been asking for that I'm going to feed in just one a week and so on, rather than post a huge load of them in like, I mean, I've literally done in May so far. This is being recorded just before, a few days before it's published. And I've already got, I think, 27 videos actually recorded, edited, and either uploaded or ready to upload just during May. So I've got plenty of things coming and plenty of things still to do. But like I say, it's the comments and the messages that I can't keep up with, and those are the things that really require me to sit down and spend hours and hours doing. So I think I'm going to move away from what I've been trying to do of respond to every single comment, and move more to, I'm just going to try and post as many videos, and when I see comments asking for stuff, I'm going to try and bring back like frequently asked questions videos, where instead of sitting down and writing like answer this, answer this, answer this, I'll try and answer directly as its own video and so on. So anyway, I'll do another video, a much shorter video, summing up my plans for the future very soon. And on that note, I'm going to say thank you very much for watching. This has been a very bizarre video. I know, not a funny story from my childhood or anything like that. Thanks for watching if you have watched this far. As usual, feel free to do all the crazy usual plugs that I have that are limitless. Please do check out the audiobook. Please do check out my Narrowboat Kindle books. Support me on Patreon if you want. If you don't, then please feel free not to. What else is there? Obviously, like the Facebook page, subscribe, check out my boaty videos and walking and biking. And just really, just have a fantastic day. You deserve it if you've watched this video this far in. As usual, all the links to everything mentioned are in the description below. And until the next time, keep it boat worthy, and of course, farewell.